Alright, so we're gonna look at some of the best action adventure games for 2024. Action adventure games, to me, are almost exemplified by games like Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank, even Super Mario Odyssey. So when I think about the games that we had this year for 2024, if I'm being honest, there wasn't a lot. In fact, a lot of them would fall into maybe even open world RPGs and things of that nature. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of action adventure games, we're gonna have to shoehorn in a couple. And starting with a game that got a lot of hate. Bad reviews kept pouring in for this game, and in fact, a lot of people didn't play it because of the reviews. But I think this is one of those situations where you really should check it out before you judge it and give it a shot. And that game is Star Wars Outlaws. And I know that there's a number of people who have a lot of valid criticisms about this game. But at the end of the day, it's actually a pretty fun game. Is it the greatest thing ever made? No, of course not. But as you enter this world as Kay Vess, you're basically fighting for your own freedom. You want to get out of this oppressive world and just basically do what you want to do. Now, a lot of that has to do with doing illegal things and working with criminals. At the same time, you're going to have to turn your back on some of those criminals, forever creating enemies to work with new allies. But deciding who you double cross actually has some very big implications. A lot of that has to deal with, well, what missions you can take, who you can work for, what you're going to be doing in this world. And there's a ton of things that you can do. In fact, one of the funnest things about this game for me was just the exploration, being able to go where I want and really immerse myself in this world. The environment is incredibly picturesque, and it really helps immerse you into the Star Wars world. Now, there's also a ton of different things that you can do in this world, like dogfights in a spaceship, cruise around on your speeder bike, looking for side quests, and just having fun. There's also mini games such as gambling, but ultimately, I think the story itself is enough to keep your attention. But the real question is Star Wars Outlaws enough to be our action adventure game of the year? And it's hard to say because there is a lot of good competition. In fact, our next nominee is one of my favorite indie games of the year. It's a game called Plucky Squire, where you're given the ability to jump outside of your book. And yes, you are a character in a child's type storybook that once you're able to explore and interact with the outside world, the game really opens up. Now, all of this came to pass because you're trying to stop an evil wizard who is actually trying to ruin the story of this book so that the child that reads it and interacts with it and keeps it alive will end up shelving it and the story will be forgotten, and this wizard can then take over and claim this world to be his own. Although this bad wizard does have a counterpart, a very awesome good wizard who also helps you understand your abilities better and kind of guide you in the right direction. There are multiple villages to visit, a ton of NPCs that have some really funny things to say, and just some great interactions in general, as well as a combat, in my opinion, being pretty fun. It's very simple, it's just sort of a hack and slash type game, but there's just something great to that simplicity, something that kind of reminds me of an old Zelda game. But don't be confused, some of the bosses in here are legitimately difficult, causing the combat to be very intuitive. Although I would argue that the main feature of this game is the puzzles and the puzzle solving, especially when you're able to engage with the outside world outside of the book. You're able to solve a lot of puzzles that maybe didn't seem possible. Being able to use this mechanic is one of the funnest parts of the game, not only because it does open up this entire world, but also visually it looks really impressive and it just brings it to life. For me, Plucky Squire was one of the funnest games I played all year. Now, our next nominee is a game that actually just came out recently, and it is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. In this game, we're taken back to 1937, where we're trying to stop this maniacal force who's trying to unlock an ancient power that is connected to the Great Circle. In many ways, this game is exactly what you think about when you think of an action-adventure game. This one fits right in with the first three Indiana Jones movies, making it a perfect companion piece to any fan who enjoys those original Indiana Jones. But not only that, the game looks very impressive. It's incredibly fun, has some very standardized mechanics when it comes to puzzle solving and even the combat. Anyone who's familiar with Uncharted or Tomb Raider will feel right at home playing this game, as it blends a very engaging story with non-stop action. In between shootouts or button prompt events, you'll also have a number of puzzles to solve and places to explore. And this game hasn't been out very long, but it's already getting great reviews. Now for our next game, we're blasting into the future to take a look at the post-apocalyptic world of Stellar Blade. Now this is a chaotically fast-paced hack-and-slash game that has you playing as Eve, as you're trying to save humanity from a legion of evil monsters. Now they've attacked this outpost located in outer space, and it just so happens that this outpost is the home of the only humans left remaining, as Earth has fallen and has since been abandoned. If you like the fast-paced, chaotic, hack-and-slash style games, this is a perfect one to pick up. But is it good enough to be our action-adventure game of the year? Well, the answer is no, because the winner of our action-adventure game of 2024 is none other than Astrobot. Yes, the crown jewel of Sony's 2024 releases, Astrobot wins our action-adventure game of the year, and, some people have even said it's game of the year. I don't know if I would go that far, but this is a fantastic game, and a return to Astrobot that we've been waiting for since basically since the PlayStation 5 released, and a lot of people were then introduced to Astrobot. Now, I personally have thought Astrobot was noted to be the best VR game I've ever played, and that was on PlayStation VR. I thought it was a travesty that this IP was just lost to time, and that Sony seemed to just be fine without Astrobot ever making anything more substantial. But luckily that wasn't the plan at all, and in fact Sony had announced a full Astrobot game earlier this year, with the release date being in August. I, like many other Astrobot fans, knew that this game had what it takes to really surprise and impress a lot of people, but even us die-hard Astro fans were incredibly surprised by how good this game actually was, how perfect it was, what it nailed. It wasn't bloated, yet had a lot of content. This game will keep you going back time and time again, even on levels you've already beaten. The environment, the world of Astrobot is almost, dare I say, timeless, but it's one of those games that when people say, oh, I don't like video games, you let them play, and they will enjoy it. I guarantee. Even the people who are all grumpy and grouchy and saying modern gaming sucks, they will love this game. There's very few people who would not love this game, and from start to finish, it brings that same energy throughout the entire experience. Honestly, I don't think a launch could have gone better for them. It's incredibly exciting to see where this goes to next, and they're gonna keep pumping these out now. And I know the team behind it has gonna find a way to make it fresh, innovative, and exciting. Because I've already played the last two Astrobot games and had thought, how are they going to do better than what they've already done? And they keep doing it. So I'm excited to see the future of Astrobot, and I'm also excited that it is our action-adventure game of 2024. Now, if you think we missed a game or you disagree with me, feel free to comment down below, or if you've played any of these games, let me know what your thoughts are on them. Let me know what action-adventure games you're looking forward to for next year. Anything and everything at all is much appreciated. Please hit that like and subscribe button as we move on to the next category of the best of 2024.